Alright, welcome to yet another video that will supplement Mr. Volan's 6th grade math classes. So in this video, we're going to go through a quick tutorial on how to find the least common multiple between two numbers. Now, the least common multiple, also known as the LCM for short, LCM, can be found between more than two numbers, but for instance, you could find the least common multiple between 3, 4, 5, and even more numbers. But in this tutorial, we're only going to do it between two. And I'll go through that example very clearly with you guys, hopefully. Now, this is going to take a very similar process that the process took for finding the greatest common factor. If you guys want, you can review that video by looking at my channel as well. But the first step to finding the least common multiple is going to be to list out some multiples. Now you might be wondering why I'm making this word so important. Well, when we were finding the greatest common factor, let's rewind our brain a little bit, I said for the first step, list out all factors. I said the word all here. And that's because the factors are finite. And it shouldn't take you too long to list them all out, at least especially in some of the examples that we're working with. Okay, but multiples, they go on forever. In fact, I like to think of multiples as a friend of Buzz Lightyear because he always says to infinity and beyond, because multiples just keep coming and coming and coming. In fact, I also kind of might like to say, like, oh, they're multiplying by the millions. They're multiplying by the millions, which means they just keep coming and coming and coming. They just keep building on themselves, getting bigger and bigger. So becoming more and becoming more, just like something would if it's multiplying by the millions. So multiples in that sense are much different than factors. But if you're interested, I will also have a video that helps you distinguish factors from multiples, and I will talk about that in class sometime as well. So, back to this video. First, to find the least common multiple between two numbers, we're going to start by listing out some multiples. And we're basically just going to keep going until we feel like we've hit a pretty good number. And then if it turns out we didn't list out enough and we've done the other steps, we can come back and just keep adding to them, and then it should work out. Okay? So after we do the first step, we're going to go to the second step. And that's where we're going to look for the common multiples that we've listed out. So among the multiples that we've listed out, we're going to find the common multiples. Find the common multiples. Okay, so that's only going to be a select few of the multiples that we've listed out. And then once we find the common multiples, we're going to find one and only one special common multiple, and that is the least of the common multiples. So in other words, which multiple is the smallest? Which one has the smallest value? So that's what we're looking for, this three-step process. Now let's say that our example numbers are 10 and 15. So our job is now to find the least common multiple between the numbers 10 and 15. Okay? So if we were listing out factors of 10, that would include 1, 2, 5, and 10. And that's it. They're finite. They stop after a while. Okay? And those numbers build into the number 10. But multiples are different. Multiples are actually, it's a solution to some number, in this case 10, being multiplied to another number. And another number, well, there's infinitely many other numbers to choose from. So that's why there are infinitely many multiples to 10. So I'll start with my first multiple of 10, which is just 10 times 1, or 10. Okay? The next multiple, instead of 10 times 1, I'll do 10 times 2. Well, that's 20. 10 times 3 would give me 30. Times 4 would give me 40. 50, 60, 70, ... And I'm creeping a little bit into my 15 space, but we'll stop there. We'll try not to creep too far over. So these are all of my multiples of 10. Oh, I just lied. These are not all of my multiples of 10. These are a very small amount of multiples of 10 because they keep going. I could have said 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. I could even skip a few and go right to 200, then to 300, 400, 500. I could skip some more and go to 1,000, skip some more, go to 1,000,000. On and on and on and on they go. They multiply by the millions. They literally do. They just keep going and going. And notice all of our multiples are big. They're getting bigger than the number that we started with. The first one is the same, just like the last factor is the same as the number that you're working with. Well, the first multiple of 10 is 10. Don't forget that, because sometimes that'll become very important. Okay? So I have a feeling that this will be enough multiples to list out for 10. If we had to, we could come back, but I don't think we'll need to. So now I'm going to move on, finish the first step for the number 15. I'm going to draw a little arrow down here just so that I don't overlap with numbers and things. And I'm going to tell you that the first multiple of 15 is, I'll go ahead and let you guess it for a second, 15. Hopefully that was your guess. If not, well, the first multiple, remember that a multiple is the solution to a multiplication problem or a product between a given number. In this case now it's 15. We did 10 before, now we're doing 15. So it's the product between a number and another number. But remember, there's infinitely many other numbers to choose from. But hey, let's start with the process. Let's start with the number 1. So 15 times 1 is 15. So that's why it's our first multiple. There's always a first multiple, but there's never a last multiple. So after 15 times 1, we'll go 15 times 2, and that's 30. After 15 times 2, we'll go 15 times 3, and that's 45. 15 times 4 is 60. Times 5 is 75. Then we'll go 90, 105, ... because they, like these, will go on forever. Why? Because they're multiples. And multiples have a way of just going on and on and on. So that will suffice for listing out some multiples. So I can check this off. Next, we're going to step 2, which is finding the common multiples. Well, just like I mentioned in the common factor, the greatest common factors video, a common multiple, you can think of it like someone having a common haircut. If this person over there has a common haircut, that must mean that a lot of people share that haircut. A lot of other people have a haircut just like that. It's common, okay? You'll see it pop up in more than one place. You'll see it on top of more than one person's head. Just similarly, a common multiple is going to show up in more than one place. So our common multiples, let's look through here. It's the ones that you're going to see pop up on both sides. So that would be, I'm scanning through here. Oh, I see a 30. This is like our I Spy game, right? And I'm scanning through. Oh, I found a 60. Now, once we get good at this, you might realize, Mr. Follen, why did you even circle the 60? You knew you were done once you hit the 30. Well, that's exactly right, but we're going to start off by just circling the ones that we have in common, okay? Because that way it won't get us too confused between this and greatest common factors. Just the second step is always just to circle the ones that you see in both sides, okay? But as you get a little bit better, you might realize that, hey, 30 is automatically going to be the smallest one, so what are you doing? Well, like I said, we'll get better at it, okay? But what I've done here, long story short, is I found the common multiples of both 10 and 15. 10 and 15. So I can check that step off. But we're not looking for just the common multiples between 10 and 15. We're looking for the least of the common multiples. So between 30 and 60, which one do you think that is? Well, let's say it's probably the 30. Between all the common multiples, the 30 here, between the common multiples, the 30 is the smallest one. It's the least. It has the least value. Smallest value. So now that I've distinguished this from the rest, I can cross out that step as well. So I found that the least common multiple, also known as the LCM of 10, ooh, it does not look like an and symbol, and 15 is 30. So remember, just like the greatest common factor video, first, if we're trying to find the greatest common factor between two numbers, well, before we even think about it, it could be any number out there. So our options are endless practically. But then we're going to start by listing out some multiples. Listing out some multiples. Once we've done that, well, now our answer to the least common multiple problem has to be one of these. So our solution set comes down to here. We're getting closer to finding what we want. Okay? But then we need to find the common multiples of that list. And once we do that, what we have here is going to become even closer. We're really close to what we're trying to find. Look, we're down to 4 options. That's like really close. And finally, we're going to find the least of those common multiples. And that will give us right to our solution, which is exactly what we want. So I hope this video helped you learn about or review how to find the least common multiple, or the LCM, of two numbers. Stay tuned for videos on how we can apply the least common multiple to real-life situations, and also how we can really distinguish factors from multiples. Factors and multiples are very different, and I'll have a video just helping us kind of distinguishing those two things if we're still having trouble keeping them separate, even though they're very related. So I'll see you in the next video, and I will see you in class. Thanks for watching.